たしぎちゃん？
はい。
やっぱたしぎちゃんなの？
入れ替わっちまったのか？
どういうこと？なんでこんなことに？心臓なくて平気なのか？たしぎちゃん。
不思議と。
大佐ちゃん、接しづらい。
What's up, everybody? We're back to regular content. We've got round 1, Smoker versus Purple Luffy. Now, I did lose the die roll here, which means Purple Luffy is on that optimal curve. Purple Luffy loves going first. I haven't really figured out if Smoker likes going first or second. I think for the most part, Smoker also likes going first because they kind of have a pretty nice 1-3-5 curve. Now, if you're playing into an aggro deck, sometimes you kind of want to find Kid on that 8 Dawn turn, but I am forced to go second here, and my hand is pretty odd curved right now, which is pretty unfortunate for me. 2 smokers and a the Ben Beckman in hand here. Not a whole lot of counter. I ended up mulliganing into this hand here, and with the Zoro found off of the Luffy is curving out pretty nicely here. Got the turn 1 Law, the turn 2 Zoro. Gonna look at the top 5. What I'm hoping for right now is to not see like a Luffy Taro or a like Sangoro, and we see the Luffy Taro. So this Purple Luffy is curving out like monster right now. So I know I'm gonna expect the Luffy Taro next turn, and then yeah, this is just gonna be rough. Opponent's gonna swing 5k here, and I just don't want to give up a card from my hand right now. So we're just gonna take the first one here, see if we can hit something cool. I think we end up finding a Virgo off the top here, and we're gonna go into my turn here on my turn 4. Now Luffy's already starting to show that he's going to be putting on a whole lot of pressure this game, and I luckily have the Baccarat in the front here. It's a tech card that some smoker decks run. If you don't know what it does, it's a blocker for 3, but it also lets you turn a card in your hand into a 2k counter once per turn on your opponent's attack. So all these bricks that smoker has sometimes can easily be cycled into a counter. I'm unlikely to be playing that Kid potentially this game here, especially if Luffy pressures me way too fast, because once they have the Luffy Taro out, Luffy Taro can just stack a few Dawn on it and just swing right into the Kid and take it out pretty simply. So I really need to just keep contesting board to the best of my ability. I do have the Virgo potentially into the Sanji this turn. I was also thinking about whether I wanted to stick the Baccarat this early, just because my hand is bricking up quite a bit, and we're going to be seeing a whole lot of aggression right now coming out of my opponent here. So I think we might just potentially play the Baccarat first. I'm again gonna lead off on the Virgo here. It's best to just lead off the search to try to give yourself as many options as possible. We're gonna look at the top 5. We're gonna grab a Punk Hazard card. We see 2 options. One's a non-counter, one's a counter. So we're gonna take the 2k Tony Chopper blocker here, add that to hand, and I think we're gonna swing 5k at lead here. See if we can try to just do some chip damage. But Luffy often has a whole lot of counter. They're gonna give you a Sangoro, which means they likely have another one in hand. And we're just going to play the Baccarat out. Just going to go hyper defensive right now. Could have played the Sanji out and tried to swing pretty hard on the next turn to try to like deal with my opponent's board. But maybe I made the mistake potentially this game of trying to be control when maybe I should have just been full aggro at this point. I know there's a few different smoker builds. There's ones that are more aggro, using like the 5-drop Luffy and more of the Straw Hat package. There's also versions of the deck that are a little more control. They use the Ben Beckman's 8-drop Kids, stuff like that. I think this was more of a mixture. I think this one definitely leaned a little more control, which maybe isn't too good in this specific scenario here. We're going to see the Luffy Taro come down, which is exactly what I expected. Another Sangoro out of hand, and this is a very intimidating board state for the Luffy side. He's going to swing 5k here. I could just use a 2k. I could also just use Baccarat's ability, pitching one of those additional smokers in hand. I could also get rid of the Kid if I really wanted to, but I think right now just kind of thinking, those 2Ks can sit in my hand later in the game here. We could just give a, no, we're just going to give it 2K. All right, so maybe leading a little bit into the Smoker. Smokers do technically only cost 2 in this deck, which is pretty nice. So we're instead going to use Baccarat's ability to counter out of that 6k, because we know that 6k is coming here. So able to stave off 2 of those attacks here, but we're just drawing pretty heavy at this point. We want to see... we want to see 2Ks, honestly. You want to see as much counter as possible. I run some events as well, like, what do we got here? Divine Departure, the Radical Beam as well. Potential events that hopefully we can find maybe out of life or later in the game here to kind of help us with the mid to late game. But we're going to play Smoker out. Smoker honestly the best card in this deck. Immediately enables your leader ability, and unless you untap 3. So this card technically only costs 2 Don, which is pretty great here. So we're gonna think here. Maybe we want to contest. Either way, if we send this at the Zoro, a 1k counter could get out of it. If we send it a life, a 2k counter could get out of it. Luffy does run a whole lot of 2ks, so either way, we're gonna side. And I think we're gonna send this at Zoro here, potentially, just trying to be a little controlling here. And we're just gonna get a 2k out of hand, so it would have been a clean counter out either way. We're gonna use Smoker's ability and then the Smoker character's ability to set up 3. And I think we're just gonna play out a Sanji here to just keep building up a little bit of board at this point. Honestly, being on the even card really sucked this turn, because I would have loved to play the Beckman out to clean up that Sangoro, just to prevent Sangoro from getting any additional value. But now Sangoro's going to be drawing at least 1 card, and at this point, it's kind of already paid for itself. But that Luffy Taro is also a bit of a menace. I could, if I find something like some power reduction, I could take out the Luffy Taro, but this is just a very threatening board in my hand. It's breaking up quite a bit. But I'm just going to play out an Onami. Just going to trash a Big Mom, draw 2 cards, continue to fill up their hand here. Still have a bit of Dawn left to work with. Likely just going to spread it out and swing with the board here. That Baccarat being on the field is it's a bit of a curse. It's a benefit and a curse, because now it's kind of just forces your opponent to swing 7Ks, so I can't really use Baccarat to get out of a single attack here. So everything coming at me is going to be higher than what Baccarat can potentially take me up to. So I'm just going to take this first hit here. I think we end up pulling a 2k off life, and likely we're going to see just a whole lot of 7Ks. We're going to see a 9k come at me here. I could use leader ability plus 2k 1k to get out of this attack. I don't know if I want to go to 1 right now, as we're potentially seeing another 7k and a 6k come at me this turn. Right, 6k from lead, 6 to 7k, but we're just going to take that one and then maybe get a little defensive on these other 2 attacks. We can more simply counter out of these 2 here. So 7k with Zoro, and I think we're just going to save the Baccarat effect for the next card here. And so I see a few 2ks in hand. I'm debating whether I want to use the Otama or the I think we're going to use the Otama, but there's a little bit of potential of using the Tashigi instead, just because Luffy doesn't really have any removal or bouncing in this deck, right? The only thing is like the Big Bomb potentially could bounce something, which is like the only fear that I have for like protecting my Smoker. But in this specific matchup, this Tashigi is not nearly as valuable, so I'm really just debating back and forth how I want to do the 2k 1k here. There's some good value of having the Otama in hand. Otama could potentially allow me to take something out, so we're going to use 2k 1k this way. And then opponent's just going to swing here, and I think we're just going to let the kid go at this point, or just use a 2k. Alright, so we're just going to use the Otama. I think partly through this turn, I was like debating, do I want to go Otama Beckman on this next turn, which is great because it lets me clear the Luffy, but like there's still 3 other attackers on board, and this Law could potentially start swinging sideways. So like, do I want to give up a 2k from my hand when my hand is already just so heavy on bricks here? And this is kind of the turn where I kind of decide to just start going for board, because I am pretty much staring down lethal at this point. If I wanted to, I could play the kid down. I could go kid into just nothing, just activate up kid's effect, and then have an 8k body on board, but likely opponent's gonna swing pretty heavy. But I honestly, thinking this back now, and this is the nice thing about commentary like this, is I can actually look at my plays, and maybe I should have played the kid this turn, right? So I could have played the kid. This is foreshadowing. I don't play the kid this turn, but if we played the kid, we attached 1 Don, we set up 3 Don, we attach 1 Don to it, we would have enough to Radical Beam, so we could actually potentially protect the kid from a pretty big swing, and also like completely invalidate the rest of Luffy's turn. Because if Purple Luffy decides to like develop another body on board and also just like attach a bunch to Luffy to swing at a kid, I could potentially counter out of it, and then I'll leave him in a situation where he doesn't have enough Dawn to spread across. But it's really tough with him having multiple 6k bodies on board, right? Because just 2 Dawn attached can easily let them contest kid. I have the Baccarat on field as well, which kind of like makes that math a little bit easier. So maybe I should have just gone for the kid here. But eyeing the Beckman here, I go ahead and separate out the Dawn. One of the really nice things about this deck is if you're on the even card, you can play out Kid and then still use Kid's effect, right? You can attach 1 Dawn to it because Smoker will allow you to set up 2 Dawn, and then the character also sets up 1. But we're going to step away from that and instead just go for a contesting, try to clear as much of the board as we can here. We're going to go 7k into 6k here. Opponent's going to show me a 2k here. We can also see another 2k staged up in the front of my opponent's hand here. Opponents had a whole lot of counter this game, which is pretty unfortunate for me. You can see I almost grabbed the Kid here, but I know I've already pivoted into this other play. We're going to clean up the Sangoro here, try to rob them from any more attacks, and then we're going to use ability to set up 2, and then use Smoker's ability to set up another 1 here. And I think what we're going to do is maybe hold up 1 and swing 9k into the Zoro. This feels bad either way because they have the Onami on field. Right, so Onami could easily block this, or they could just show me more counter to get out of it here. There's a bit of an idea of maybe leaving 2 Dawn up, right, in case I hit another Radical Beam out of life. I am running at least 2 copies, or hit some kind of event counter out of life. But we're going to decide to go 9k, and I think this 9k is going to go to Zoro here. So you can either show me 2 counters out of hand, or just a Nami block. Either way, this is a very bad spot for me right now. And opponent's thumbing 2 cards in the front. Going to show me the 2k, 1k. Oh yeah, because I decided to just go 8. So 2k, 1k out of that one. Now we're going to go 6 into Zoro here. And again, opponent could just block this pretty easily. He's just going to show me a 1k, which gets out of it as well. And we're going to pass back to my opponent's turn. So I'm really leaning on Baccarat right now to try to keep me alive. Baccarat 2k, Radical Beam. And then maybe I could develop the Kid next turn, but I do think in hindsight I should have developed the Kid last turn and tried to just protect the Kid as much as possible, and then just kind of swing into my opponent's life and try to just take out game at this point. I still could have poked my opponent's characters just with little 6k, a 7k, and then I could have used Smoker. I could have also attached 1 to Smoker to swing another one, but the opponent shows me the Uso Hachi, which completely invalidates my Baccarat plan. This honestly, if I don't hit something great out of life, this is game potentially this turn here, as my opponent's going to continue to respect the Baccarat being able to just give me 2k. So the opponent's going to swing 7k here. At this point, yes, we technically got 2 2ks and a Radical Beam, because I could turn that Kid into a 2k, but not having the versatility of having that blocker Baccarat up, incredibly unfortunate. And this Luffy has run like chef's kiss amazing this game. Turn 1 Law, turn 4 Sorojuro, 7 Dawn Luffy, put Sangoro into play, swing with Sangoro, play Onami, have Uso Hachi on the turn he needs it. Insane, absolutely insane. So I use Baccarat's effect to give me 2 2ks just to counter out of it. We end up pulling a 2k off of life here, off of the Zorojuro attack, but now we're going to get a 12k swing here. And I have a Radical Beam to take me up to 9k, and then a 2k to take me up to 11. Not enough to get out of it, and unfortunately Luffy steals the game there. In hindsight, maybe we should have played the Kid, not really sure if that could have been the option. But yeah, really tough game when Luffy goes first and sees everything they need, something that I wasn't able to deal with. But anyways, if you enjoy this type of content, definitely subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video.